Hello, everybody. We are here to break down the biggest Bachelor Nation news of the week, including Teddi's exit, Kira versus Justin on Twitter, Jason A speaks his piece on the Gabby breakup, and of course, Susie and Clayton have a update on their breakup. Welcome back to our channel. We are here live today, so we are so excited to chat with you guys on this happy Friday. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new here. I'm Zachary Reality with Blakely McHugh and Kayla Thompson. How are you guys doing? What's new? Why don't you tell everybody how you're excited about the weekend? It's Friday.
I mean, I'm excited about the weekend because you're moving to Los Angeles. So I'm ready to. I'm ready to get it going. Although it's gonna be a little stressful. I mean, moving is never fun, but I'm excited.
Yay.
Yeah. No, I'm jealous that you're moving to LA. I want to move back so bad. I want to be your roommate so bad.
Just come be with us, Kayla. Just do it. It's
easy. I'm visiting soon, so updates on that coming soon.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm feeling good. It's a happy Friday. If y'all have been watching our lives this week, you know your girl has been struggling with just getting past this sickness. And so I'm feeling good today, feeling a lot better. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about all this news because my goodness,
yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah, this was a really big week in Bachelor Nation. We definitely have to talk about all the Paradise drama that's playing out on social media and some of these podcasts. I mean, we just have a lot of tea, so let's get right into it. I want to start with Jason A. Now, he has finally spoke his piece on the Gabby breakup on Nick Viall's podcast, The Viall Files, and I think this was a very important interview because there was no Jason A at After the Final Rose. This is his first exclusive time speaking about the show, and not a lot of us were big fans when he left because we were confused about the ending and why he didn't take the show seriously, or he just didn't understand what he signed up for. So he provides a little bit of context on the Viall Files, and here are some of the highlights. He's never watched the show. He said he wishes he's done his homework before going into it. He said a friend nominated for the show and he was hesitant but took it one step at a time and just ended up on the show. He genuinely felt like this was something real with Gabby that he hasn't felt in a long time, and he just wasn't comfortable opening up and sharing, all of his feelings, not to Gabby, but because he knew the world was watching. So his main thing is that he just didn't really want to go on a reality TV dating show. It wasn't his prerogative. It really just fell into place, and this was a very foreign concept for him. Some of the biggest tea drops is that they never spent the night together in fantasy suites. They had those off-camera conversations that, remember he was holding back. And then once they were able to talk and share their feelings, he expressed that he was not ready to get engaged. It was literally their third date, and hometowns was only their second date. So when you see Jason tell his parents that he's not ready to get engaged, he's being realistic. It's his second date. The first one was in Paris. He literally said he did not have time with Gabby this season. There was not enough time. He tried to be, genuine. He was genuine, but it just wasn't going to happen. And dating reality TV shows are just not for him. So I got to hear what you guys think about this. Kayla, I think you should start because you are the Jason A stan of the group. Does this clear things up? Because I even know that you as a fan was a little disappointed in him at the end.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely was rooting for Jason and Gabby throughout the season. I felt like their connection really was special. I saw it. I felt like there was depth to it. There was layers to it. And so it was interesting, and it was, I don't know, I guess confirming watching him talk about it on this podcast. But I think it definitely does make things make more sense. For me, I feel like, for Jason and Gabby, it was more of the timing. It was the time that they got on the show, the timeline in which it's not that Jason couldn't ever get there with Gabby, it's that he couldn't get there of knowing if she was the one forever and being in love in 4 weeks, or however many weeks from their first one-on-one date till, the end of the show. So I think too, watching him talk about it, I mean, if you watch the interview, I don't know, you can get a sense that it was really hard for him. He felt heartbroken after leaving, and he was almost like, did I mess up? Did I make a mistake? What did I do? And even now he kind of talks about flashbacks of being with her, and I don't know, you can I don't know, you feel almost like sad, I guess, for me, because I'm the fan of Jason. Like, I feel sad for him that
Mhm.
it didn't work out, because I think it was kind of just a product of the show, the
Environment.
environment, and yeah, and the timeline of everything, and not necessarily like Jason and Gabby just don't work, And so
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of my biggest takeaway. But
And
I
now
think
he's
it did show
single.
him a lot. So now he's single. Yep.
Kayla, you better slide in.
Okay.
Where does he live?
No,
Where is he
not
from?
for me. But
He's in Santa Monica, California, so we'll run into him now that you're coming to LA. I'm sure we will.
I know, maybe we will.
I
That'd be so cute.
I'll I'll slip your name, Kayla. I think I don't think that I ever thought that they spent the night in fantasy suites together. For some reason I had
Ooh.
this thought that Gabby only stayed with Eric, and then I was juxtaposing it next to Rachel, who stayed with all three of her men. So I don't know why, but for some reason I didn't think that they had
Hmm.
stayed together, so that didn't seem like
Yeah.
shocking news to
Same
me.
for me,
I don't
actually.
know.
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't think that I needed an interview from Jason. I don't think I needed
Mm.
this. I didn't have any like unresolved feelings from him. I felt like I sort of already felt like they didn't have the strongest connection ever. I mean, they did when they were talking about therapy and kind of being vulnerable. They had some really like deep moments, but it just there wasn't I wasn't vying for these two. I felt like she had a stronger connection with Johnny than she did with Jason. I don't know. I kind of felt like I didn't think that this was necessary from him.
Mm.
I mean, I understand that. I do think that after listening to the full interview, that his storyline did play out on the show, where he basically said that he wanted to be open with her, but he didn't want to share it with the world. So I think this interview for him was just his first opportunity, and his probably his final opportunity to just kind of speak on the show. I think that everyone, who goes on reality TV, there's obviously an edit. Jason, there was some new information, but I think ultimately he just kind of wanted to kind of close this chapter and, let his fans know that he truly was into Gabby, and just to kind of reassure them, because the show did film so long ago. So it's kind of just kind of
Yeah.
catching up with him. It's been a few months and him reflecting.
Yeah.
So all love to Jason A here. A little frustrating, I
Yes.
think, that he went on the show to begin with, not doing his homework. So I'm glad he took accountability. And I think that anyone who goes on a reality show, you got to do your homework. You don't know what you're getting into,
Yeah.
and
Or is
look
it
how it
better
ended up.
or is it better not to, and then like you're really going in for the realness or for the love, and you're not so manipulated by what you think is supposed to happen.
It's
I mean, I
true.
think you can.
Because he
I
talked
think
about
it's
that as well.
both.
Yeah.
I think it's both,
Mm.
but I think with The
Yeah.
Bachelor, you need to know how it's going to end. I think that was like Jason's biggest mistake, is like he truly just
Yeah.
didn't get
I
the
see.
process. Like
No,
He
maybe
didn't
yeah,
another show
that's
you
realize that
true.
could
it
go
ended in
in.
an engagement. Nobody told him.
He really just didn't get the concept of the show. He didn't like say
Maybe
that
the
specifically,
timing, he
but
didn't understand like how
yeah,
Got
much
it.
the
time he wasn't gonna
timing,
get with Gabby. Yeah.
that part,
Got it.
Yeah.
and the fact that
Yeah. And I
hometowns was
also
his
think
second date.
right. I also was just gonna say I think this interview also might have been kind of throwing a line out to I think he does want to have a conversation with Gabby. Like, no disrespect to
Yeah.
Eric. I think they made that clear, but I think Nick was kind of saying it. He was saying it like we could do good to having just coffee because we never had a real closure, and he was looking to do that on
Mm.
AFR, and they didn't get that. So
Yeah, that's
could
a
have been
good
that too.
point. I'm glad you brought that up,
Mm.
Kayla. And, Gabby obviously is booked and busy on Dancing with the Stars, but I think that a phone call conversation would be great too if they don't want to meet in person. And if they do, that's awesome. Like, there's nothing wrong with closure. I mean, how many times do you end a relationship
Absolutely.
or a friendship with someone and then you're over them, but like you just don't have that final conversation because it's awkward? So you just say, you ghost them and you say bye. Sometimes
But
those conversations are important.
Yeah.
also, like if you've realistically only been on two dates, I mean, he's saying
Well,
they've
now
only been on two
3.
dates.
3 dates.
Three.
Yeah, but
Fantasy
Three
also
Suite is
dates.
the
saying
third.
that he's never also saying though that he's never felt, and this is just okay again, Jason Stan, I guess I'm defending him, but
I get
also
it.
he did mention
Bring
in this
it.
interview that he'd never felt this way about anybody the way he felt about
Hmm.
Gabby, or maybe just never felt a connection like that before. So I think he was aware like this is like kind of a wild process where you can feel things very fast and very deep,
Got it.
but yes, but I hear your point though about like we had 3 dates.
Yeah.
Am I
I
supposed to
mean,
propose
defend
after
Jason
this?
A at all costs. I would be doing the same thing for Avon. So we're all good on
Okay.
that. Okay, let's move on to some drama on Twitter. Kira versus
Your favorite?
Justin. This was a little bit kind of like it got a little messy. So Justin tweeted that it was news to him that Kira was even at Stagecoach to begin with. He had no idea she was there. He tweeted. Kira replied to the tweet saying that she was there. They spoke that he should get some glasses and a better attitude. And then Justin responded basically saying that he just didn't remember the conversations that he had with her. And that really frustrated Kira, so she decided to post a picture on Twitter of the two of them at Stagecoach in a group pool party. So clearly they were there. And Kira also went on the Talking It Out podcast and shared a little bit more about this Twitter feud, saying that she was a good friend of Sally's. Everybody knew Sally was coming to the beach because her suitcase was there. So she basically was just letting Genevieve know that when Sally gets here, she's going to pursue things with Justin. That's what she's looking for. And Genevieve was already spiraling because Justin was on a date with Victoria F. So the last thing Genevieve needed was another girl to vie for Justin. So, Kira was just kind of trying to be a good friend to the girls, and Justin got frustrated that Kira brought it up on TV, I guess, or just to Genevieve, that something happened between Sally and Justin at Stagecoach, because whatever happens off camera should, not stay on, it should be off camera because it was drama before the show. But if things happen at Stagecoach, things happen at Stagecoach. So, Blakely,
Right.
why don't you kick us off? What are your thoughts here? And have you changed your mind about Kira? Because I feel like she did do a really good interview this week, kind of clearing up her, professional life versus a TV show.
Well, I didn't listen to the interview, so my thought process still stays the same at the moment about Kira. I was living for the arrows, like going out of her way to put those emoji arrows on that photo to show this is Justin and this is me. But I kind of think Justin looked a little bit like an idiot. He started off saying, "This is news to me, you were at Stagecoach." Then all of a sudden he changed his tune to saying, "Well, we just didn't really have that many conversations, or we didn't really see each other that much." To then saying, "Oh, like I think his last tweet was, it wasn't that big of a deal, or I wasn't coming for you." Like he tried to minimize it. But like in the beginning, you were kind of coming for Kira. Don't like say, "Oh, you don't be you can't be tweeting, 'Oh, you were at Stagecoach, this is news to me.'" Like, you're doing a little call out, and then all of a sudden you're taking it all back, saying you didn't mean anything by it, it was funny, haha, whatever. Like, come on, give me a break.
It was rude. It was like, you're too irrelevant for me to
Yeah.
remember you. It was like, no,
Yeah.
Kira was
Oh,
at
gosh.
Stagecoach, and she was with Sally, and there are pictures to prove it, and Sally is the girl that you were apparently all over. So I'm pretty sure you should know your friends.
Yeah. This is all. Let me just tell you something. To me, this is just like, why are y'all even still doing this Stagecoach thing? Y'all should know better from
Than
Blake
to even
and
go.
his whole Blake fell on the sword so that y'all could understand. Don't do the Stagecoach thing. If you're gonna do it, then like know that if you're gonna be messy with somebody who's gonna go on the beach in your next season, it's going to come out on the beach, like, or it's gonna come out at least, in socials.
On the
So
beach.
it's just,
If
I'm
people
like,
hang out
Justin,
before
yeah,
the
but it did
show,
come out on the beach,
the same
right?
thing with
So
Romeo,
it's just
Kira,
like,
Jill. Like, if you hang out before the show, it's
exactly.
gonna come onto the show if everybody goes.
Exactly. So Justin kind of trying to separate in the beginning is kind of stupid. And then him trying to shade Kira. It's like, you just shouldn't have said anything, honestly. Because you're not even with Genevieve right now. Genevieve, like, that's pretty much from what we just saw on Wednesday, it's over. So like, who even cares?
Yeah.
We've seen previews of him dating Eliza, and like, it's just like, so let's just move on. Like, we do even know if him and Sally are gonna hook up on the beach. We don't even know. So it's just kind of irrelevant anyway. But it kind of like, I don't know, definitely him tweeting that made Kira be like, oh, okay, so then here's the receipt, and just made it more of a thing when he probably
Kira's a
just shouldn't have
savage.
even tweeted about it.
And the thing
I mean,
is,
she's
like, I
defending
listened to the full
herself, so I get it.
podcast. Yeah, I listened to the podcast, and like, she really is like so funny and cool. She doesn't take herself too seriously. She went to Paradise to meet some guys, and things just happened, and it's a TV show for entertainment. And she kind of said that in her Q&A this week on Instagram. So I really think
Right.
that she is just like a cool girl, and that everyone kind of should give her a chance, because she is a doctor and she takes her career seriously. And like, she was spitting facts on the podcast about like how to keep yourself healthy and like not to smoke and like all these like random tidbits that I think everyone should check out. So sending some love to Kira. Blakely, I do want to know what you think is going to happen when Sally shows up, though.
I don't know, because I'm honestly shocked that Sally is showing up. I was thinking this was just a whole plan by the producers to rile up everybody else. So I'm like, I'm a little taken aback that she really did make it to
She's there.
the beach. I mean, if she is interested in Justin, I have to imagine that she would try to pursue him. I have absolutely I have no guess on what's going to happen, Zach. I'm terrible at predictions.
Listen, Sally is an icon. She is an icon. She is doing the bare minimum, and she is carrying this season on her back with a heavy, heavy suitcase that wasn't even hers. We really have to give it up to Sally because she is just so entertaining. I'm anxiously awaiting her arrival. Kayla, are you excited to see Sally next week?
I'm definitely excited. Sorry if you hear background noise. My brother's in here printing something. Can you hurry up, actually?
I'm dead.
Sorry. What happens when you're live and you didn't text your family that you're going live? I apologize.
Hell yeah.
But I am excited. I am excited to see Sally on the beach because I can't wait to hear how she's going to kind of go about, like, I don't know, how they're going to tell her side of this whole suitcase story because if you've been keeping up with the tea, like it's kind of like the producers versus like, we'll talk about Teddi and Sally. It's not looking good. Like there's some issues going on and there's some mess. And I'm talking about on the producer end. So I'm kind of curious to see that. I'm not even, like I was saying earlier, I'm not even really like worried about her and Justin. I'm just kind of more curious about that. So
well, she's coming, and she's coming to get her stuff, which was broken into. So I don't think she's going to be too happy when she shows up. I would be pissed if someone went through my suitcase. Livid. So we'll see how Sally reacts. But we got to talk about this producer manipulation because a lot of contestants are being much more open and apparent on Twitter, on social media. Some of the contestants even tweeted, like, that's not Sally's suitcase. You really believe this? So it's really hard to take this show seriously. But what's going on behind the scenes? We gotta read the lines between Teddi's caption on Instagram this week because she is straight out calling BS on this show. So we all know she left Paradise in a shocking and sudden way this week with little to no context. She was interested in going on a date with Rodney, so she broke things off with Andrew because she just wasn't all in with him. However, Rodney seemed to want to take her on the date, but she did the Irish goodbye and left with no context. So Teddi put on her Instagram, indirectly but directly, shading the producers when she says, "Something I'm proud of, leaving environments that are cruel to me and the people around me, sticking to my boundaries no matter how many times people in authority tried to cross them." So I gotta hear your thoughts, Blakely, Kayla. Like, is Teddi gonna get in trouble for this? Is she being too direct? What do you think she's saying between the lines?
No, she's just passive enough, I think, to not get in trouble for. Yeah, because I feel like there's so many different ways you could take that. She could easily come up with some kind of BS answer of what she's referring to. I mean, obviously people are putting two and two together since it came right after her exit. There's clearly something going on, you said, behind the scenes and reading between the lines. I mean, the only thing that I'm thinking is because I've seen what your theory was, Zach. I've seen you talk about it.
Yes.
So, why don't you guys share what you think is going on?
Yeah.
Zach, you want to go first?
I mean, I'll just say, like, the theory and what I was told months ago is that, the producers really wanted Teddi to be with Andrew. That was kind of the plan all along, because it seems like the producers do have a kind of a say sometimes who gets roses and which couples they want to kind of formulate. I mean, I kind of believe that they were setting up Genevieve and Aaron for months before as well. So I think from what I was kind of told, it seems like Teddi, the producers wanted her with Andrew and they were maybe gonna make her look bad if she switched to Rodney, and I think that's what maybe set her over the edge. And why she decided to leave, because it was no longer in control. So you can see that her caption says that she sticks to her boundaries no matter how many times people in authority try and cross them. She stuck to her boundaries. She left the show. She knows her worth. And I'm Team Teddi on this one. Kayla, what do you think?
Yeah, totally. Sorry, we just got a comment. I guess I'll read it and then I'll say what I have to say. Is it
Okay.
true producers didn't allow Teddy to pursue Rodney? Well, yeah, Zach just kind of answered that. Herm Doug. But yeah, I mean, I think that I think that for me, like, there's just so much like that has been said around like producers and what they don't let you do and what they let other certain people do and like kind of like the good edit certain cast members get and how other cast members are treated like
Mm-hmm.
and so I can definitely see how like if I were Teddy and I know Andrew is such a fan favorite, he's going to be favored in the edit and I might be
Mm-hmm.
casualty in making audiences look at Andrew like, oh my God, look what happened. He's so sad. Like, and kind of indirectly
Mm-hmm.
villainizing Teddy. So there's that. But I also think that what's interesting too, and I think I heard Dave Neal talk about this, so I'll just give him his props. But I think
Yes.
there's also not just Teddy and Andrew storylines, but I think they're also thinking of who they have in mind for Rodney. So they're
Yep.
like, no, we have so and so and so and so set up for Rodney, so you can't date him because X, Y, and Z are going to
Uh-huh.
show up and date him too. So there's not just Andrew and Teddy, but there's
Mm.
other people that they have in the hotel in the wings. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Kayla, you're getting
it's
it. You're
not
really on the ball here. You're spot on.
okay. So I just feel like, too, I think like we've heard other like alumni talk about just how they were treated poorly by producers in Paradise, and people like McKenna or um,
Mm-hmm.
Goose. I can't remember his real name. Sorry.
Chris Brandon.
And just like yes, and like I don't know. It's not far fetched for someone like Teddy to be like, "Yo, y'all treat me like trash, so I'm leaving. Like I'm not gonna allow myself to stay in this situation and be used." And I give her total
Mm-hmm.
props. Um, and it's not anything against like an Andrew who obviously would be treated probably better because again of his, his him being a fan favorite, or even like
Following.
someone like Michael A. Yeah, his following, even like Michael A. I saw some tweets of Michael A. saying like, against Genevieve, like Genevieve saying like, I wanted to leave so many times, and Michael A. is like, we're lucky, and it's like, yeah, you're lucky because you are you're a fan favorite. They're going to treat you a certain way. You're getting the grocery store Joe edit here. But like a Genevieve is being used, so it's like there's definitely a narrative, of how the producers operate. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's completely true.
But
I feel like it is what it is.
wasn't Teddy also considered a fan favorite? She never got a bad edit. She got a great edit, I felt like, on Clayton's season.
She
Right? She was on
did.
Clayton's season.
She got like
And
the
Did.
first
so,
impression rose, and then she got no
yeah.
airtime. And then she just didn't really continue on social media with the show. And I think that the show, Bachelor in Paradise, wants to favor their highest influencers because those are the people that are going to promote the show. And that's the reason why Ashley and Jared were brought in because the majority of the people on the show don't have enough followers and they want to use them as a marketing tool to get more ratings for the show.
But my
Mm.
thought process is this: I think that there's two types of people who are on the Bachelor franchise, and I would say that there's a more of one group. There's a group that I feel like is similar to Teddy, where they allow the producers to manipulate slash make decisions for them. At the end of the
Mm.
day, the contestants are the ones in power. They can say how I feel. I could be wrong, but like they physically do not have to go on a date if they don't want to go on a date. They physically do not
Mm-hmm.
have to
Mm.
take somebody if they don't want to take somebody.
They
So
don't
I
have to
would
do
say
anything they
most
don't
of
want
it
to do.
Yeah,
exactly.
totally.
So I would say most of the contestants are in this group that are easily manipulated, maybe not easily, but allow the producers to make their decisions for them. And there's a small select group, and I can't think of who many people, but Gabby is one that comes to mind, where Gabby does what Gabby wants to do. She cusses on it. She called somebody a baby back bitch. She did this, that, she did a lot of things that other contestants and leads have never done on the show. And that's because she wanted to be who she wanted to be, and she did her own thing. And I'm sure she was guided, and I don't know in which direction, but there's a clear contrast between how Rachel was the bachelorette and how Gabby was the bachelorette. At the end of the day, if you want to go on the date with Rodney, go on the date with Rodney. And Teddi, I don't feel like there's a way to make Teddi come out to looking like a villain. She is kind, she is sweet, she's innocent to me, she's very wholesome and well-rounded. I don't know that there would have been any way for producers to manipulate. And again, there's obviously the powers that be. Producers can plant stories here and there and make people go against her. I understand that there's ways for that to happen, but just I feel like in my heart there was no way that they could have actually made Teddi into some kind of negative villain. And if they did, nobody would have believed it.
It would have, I agree, it would have been really interesting to see Teddi with a villain kind of edit, but I think that they can do anything because editing is that powerful. I mean, even Kira had the bum, bum, bum. They can put background music, which influences what people say. And I guess I want to say in the producer's defense, because I want to be able to play devil's advocate, they have a show to put on. They have a job. They are getting paid for this. We really don't know the producers. Let me finish. We really just don't know what the producers' contract is and what their job obligations are. And if their higher ups from ABC or Warner Brothers are telling them, this is what you need to do to be a Bachelor producer. And, obviously they definitely crossed the line. 100% they do. There's been way too many contestants that have spoken out. But I think that sometimes, you sign up for this TV show, which has the biggest reputation for being producer controlled. This is kind of how it goes. And this is why I encourage people to just not go on The Bachelor or apply for the show anymore, because it's clearly become too toxic. And that's the reality of what it is. And that's something that Jason A should have also figured out before he went on the show if he did his research.
Period. Make it full circle, Zach.
Full circle. And Teddi also didn't promote the show. She didn't promote anything about it, which I think everyone thought was really odd. So clearly she had a fallout with the producers, which she made clear in her Instagram caption. We're not really here to talk for Teddi or talk for anyone at all. Like, obviously, we have some inside scoop that we're able to shed light on, but at the end of the day, we're not there on the beach, so we don't know everything that goes down. We're just here to break it down and, bring all the facts and context that we're aware of.
Yeah.
Are you finished?
Blakely, you're gonna
want to make sure I don't interrupt Zach.
I
I was just gonna say, I think that we're giving just so much power to the producers in terms of being so afraid of the editing. But again, obviously, I'm not on the beach.
When you're on the beach and you're afraid of the editing and you're afraid of the producers and you're not a fan favorite, you're more likely to do what they say so that you can stay on the show longer and because you want to get a good edit. All the contestants talk about this on the podcasts. Don't apply for The Bachelor unless you wanted to F with your mental health, period.
Yeah.
We ready for the next topic?
It's a lot. Yeah, let's go to the next one.
I guess so.
Let's just go to the next one.
Well, speaking of mental health, Susie and Clayton have spoke their piece on Caitlin Bristow's podcast. So they went on the podcast together in 2 separate locations on Zoom to provide context and what happened in their breakup, why they decided to split up. They went on the podcast together to prove and show that there are no teams here, there's no bad blood, they're gonna be friends. So here are some of the highlights. Clayton was in a place of instability after the show and was questioning his self-worth because of the negativity and backlash he got from The Bachelor. He couldn't be the man he needed to be for Susie to be stable in the relationship. His pain made it so challenging that he asked Susie for 3 more months to get it together, but he kept struggling. Susie needed security and she wanted to be 2 whole people, but there was so much hatred towards both of them and sometimes one of them and sometimes the other. The Clayton Suck song did not help, and the fact that he still kept getting brought up on the show. Clayton really needed to figure out his next steps in his career so that he can get back into a good place and find his stability, which is why he decided to look for opportunities in Arizona. So Susie was trying to be the good girlfriend for him, which is why she agreed to move to Los Angeles so that they can kind of take a couple of months to help figure out their careers and find the stability. But unfortunately, they are still trying to make sense of things and realize that they are better off apart and as friends right now. Their door seemed a little open for the future. And after the podcast, I texted Susie to check in, so I have a little exclusive statement she shared with me. I love Clayton so much, but we just need to take the time to be okay for ourselves right now. Whew. It was a really heavy podcast. It was very emotional. I encourage everyone to listen. Kayla, we were talking about this last week. So, what are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts now that we know the true reason why they broke up?
Yeah. No, well, my first thought is I don't think I've ever seen this before where a bachelor couple or really
Mm-hmm.
any couple come on to a podcast or an interview together to talk about their breakup like right after. Like that is wild. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what the intention was with that. Just kind of like getting people like, oh,
There's
wait,
no
they're together. Let
teams.
me click on this.
There's no
Yeah, and
teams.
I do think that they clearly have like a good uh, they have grace for each other, like we talked about. They have clearly a love for each other, and a camaraderie, I guess, in just kind of what they went through, in their relationship, on the show, whatever you want to say. Um, but I do think that, like I was saying, like I think this is a good thing. I mean, I can't imagine all that Clayton went through just mentally from his season. Like he was getting dragged and he still is getting
Mm-hmm.
dragged, and it's like I
He's still getting
understand where
mentioned on
people's
Paradise.
frustration are coming, like it's crazy, and I understand where people's like frustrations for him are coming from, but at the same time it's like he is a human being, and like the fact that he was going through thoughts of just like, should I be here anymore, like that is that no one should have to go through that. And so I can understand him being like, yo, first let me just get myself together for a couple months, and maybe even after that feeling he was good enough, then they tried and it's like, yo, I'm still not good, and then Susie
Mm-hmm.
realizing, yeah, I need to work on things, and it makes total sense, and I think it happens, or it maybe even should happen more than it maybe doesn't, where people are staying together, maybe they're trauma bonding, or and they just need, like, you have to be whole within yourself first. You have to be good with who you are and where you're at in your life, and make sure that you're healthy and whole on your own, and then get into a relationship where you can now give to that relationship and give to that person. So I commend them both, not just for like going on this podcast together and being like big enough to do that and mature enough
Yeah.
to do that, but the fact that they made that decision, even though they clearly have a lot of love for each other, to break up and work on themselves individually. So again, I think this is a positive thing. Clacy, what's it called? Clacy stands,
Clacy.
like I understand y'all are sad, but this is good for them individually as people. And I think, like, especially going on a show like The Bachelor, we just talked about all this mental health stuff with the Bachelor in Paradise people. So it's like, I mean, going on a reality show can really, really mess with you. And so it's like you have to take the time
Oh, yeah.
to, to do
Heal on
that,
your
to work
own.
through that. Absolutely. So
Yeah,
that's my thought.
for
Yeah, I
sure.
think I think Kayla, you said everything perfectly and what I was thinking as well. I think
Thanks.
that the hardest breakups are the ones where somebody didn't do something wrong. You still love each
Mm,
other,
Mm-hmm.
but you know that it's just not working out. And sometimes, most times, those are like the hardest ones to get over and heal from, because it's sometimes easier to
yeah.
have that anger. And I think I do appreciate like the love that they have for one another and respect, and I feel like that's sort of how they've gone their entire relationship. With Susie's been such a good, I feel like, support system for Clayton, even coming to his defense. And I feel like a lot of people trust Susie because she just was this kind, loving, wholehearted girl on the show. And I really feel like she was a lot in terms of Clayton's kind of redemption as well. Like, if she can see greatness in him, obviously there was just something that went on. I do think that it's important to point out, just because we are talking about thoughts of suicide, that if there is anybody out there that has those similar thoughts, that there is help available. The number is 988. They just recently changed it to a 3-digit number to make it really easy for
Mm,
anybody to get help. And just remember that you're not alone. And I'm so glad that Clayton also
yeah.
had Susie there to be such a support system for him, especially in those dark times.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, Blakely. I think that's really
Yes.
important that we just send love to Clayton because obviously Susie struggled, but she did make it a point to say that, she's more active on social media. She gets the jokes. She's watched The Bachelor.
Yes.
Clayton wasn't familiar with the show. He became The Bachelor before Michelle's season started. He was so thrown into this. This was so out of his world, similar to Jason A, and he just got the front of it. So we really want to send love to Clayton. And I mean, as far as the fact if maybe they'll get back together, I think the door is a little open because they have so much fun together. They're talking about how they're gonna miss those moments where they laugh until they pee. But unfortunately, as I just shared, like they have to be by themselves right now because they need to just decompress and process and take time. So I think that if they take that time, Clayton's now in Arizona, Susie's figuring out her next steps. You never know what could happen in the next year or two. We've seen other people get back together, most recently Kelly and Peter. Not sure what's going on with that. But either way, whether they end up together or they just stay friends, they're gonna support each other. So this was probably the healthiest breakup in Bachelor Nation. Do you guys have any other couples in mind that you think had a really healthy breakup? I'll give you a second to think about it unless you're ready. But this
Hmm.
is definitely one of the most mature breakups. I'm
Gosh.
thinking because
I
everyone does two
can't
different
think.
podcasts. It's always like this is what Blake said about Katie. This is what Katie said about Blake. Like like
Yeah.
everyone does two separate. Like they really did it together.
I I felt like maybe Kendall and Joe did until she went back
True.
on Bachelor in Paradise. But even then, I still felt like he was really kind to her, and gave her the time of day, even though he was talking with Serena. So maybe them is who I'm choosing.
Mm,
I'm kind of
that's a
thinking
good one.
Rachel and Avon, as well
Mm-hmm.
as Rachel and Zach. Like just recently on After the Final Rose. Like I thought
Oh,
Rachel
those
handled
kind of
that really
breakups. Okay.
maturely.
But
Well,
I'm
any
not really
breakup you could think
considering
of.
those like I'm thinking
Yeah.
like the people who
Yeah,
established a
I'm thinking the
relationship outside of the
final.
show.
Yeah, final
Yeah,
ones.
because I would say Tasha and Zach, but that was like crazy too because they had
There
her
was
like
some
spill some
little.
tea. Yeah, and like the women
Yeah.
tell
Oh
all or something, the men
no.
tell all. I mean, everybody's
Yeah,
been
I
breaking
can't
up.
think. Oh my gosh. I know
Well, maybe there
everyone's
is no
broken up, so
one.
why can't I think? um,
Maybe there
maybe
truly is
maybe
no one.
Vanessa and Nick. I don't know. Like Nick
Yeah.
and Vanessa seemed like cool after, and it seemed like a mutual decision. Like, yeah, we need to break up. Um,
Maybe Tasha and Zach. I mean, we don't know how things ended with them, but
yeah, Zach
we
was
didn't
saying
hear
that.
about a big blow up.
That's true.
Yeah, it's
Well,
true. Zach, defended her too in one of the comments like earlier this year.
Yeah.
But those were our biggest Bachelor Nation headlines for the week. I want to leave this on a high note. Can you guys tell me who your MVP was of the week in Bachelor Nation? Maybe two or three people. My favorites that I want to give a
oh,
shout out to are Sally, just because she's so hilarious and iconic. I want to give a shout out to Haley. She got eliminated, and I thought she was so funny on Paradise this week when she had way too much airtime, but she was just cracking me up. And then also, I want to applaud Susie and Clayton for doing the joint podcast together. I think those are kind of my
mm.
MVPs of the week. What about you guys?
I
Um
think probably for me, because I'm like Blakely's gonna steal it. um, probably
Teddy.
Teddy. Probably Teddy. Don't Zach. I was gonna say.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to say
You knew I
Teddy.
was gonna say Teddy. Yeah, no, I think genuinely Teddy, just because like that was really brave of her to stand up for herself and like in a smart way, where she's like, I'm not gonna,
Mm-hmm.
get myself in nobody's trouble and
Mm-hmm.
name names, but I stood up for myself. I left the beach because I wasn't being treated well. So I respect that so much. So that's my MVP for the week. Okay, Blakely, you go.
I love it.
I wasn't gonna do Teddy. I'm
No,
actually
okay.
thinking I'm thinking Shanae's my MVP
Shanae.
of the week.
Mm,
I know who am I.
okay.
Just because I feel
Okay.
like she is, I don't know, I'm like really liking her on Bachelor in Paradise. We're getting I feel like a different side of Shanae. She's having fun. I really loved her and Genevieve going on this double date and they're like not being drama and them actually squashing things and just getting along and having a good time. I think she's being hilarious. I don't know. I'm like vibing with Shanae right now and I didn't expect that at all for myself. So she's my MVP since she's just totally blowing me away.
I'm
Well,
with
she's
that.
blowing a lot of guys away on the beach too. She's got Logan in one corner,
Yep.
James in the other. We'll see what happens next week. But those are our top Bachelor headlines for the week. So let us know your thoughts on everything we talked about today down below. Jason A, Kira versus Justin, Clayton and Susie, and Teddi. Let us know your MVPs in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you're always up to date with all things Bachelor Nation. I am your host, Zachary Reality, with
Blakely McHugh.
And Kayla Thompson. Thank you guys so much for joining us live today. We'll see you guys in our next video. Bye.
Bye.